Hi, my name is Zdravko and I'm a senior expert in CEFTA Secretariat. Today I would like to talk to you about why we strongly believe in digital trade and why we think building an EU-compliant regional market is a win-win project for us all. I also invite you to follow and support our ambitious plan called CEFTA e-commerce roadmap, which we have adopted last year and already put in motion. But let me start from the beginning. So, why digital trade is so important? I have a feeling I will be preaching to the converted here, but still, let us be reminded of the global trends set in motion even before pandemics. UN Agency for Trade estimates that around 1.5 billion people in the planet has shopped online, and this accounts for around 1/4 of global population. In the Balkans, this percentage is higher. Online shoppers make around half of the adult population. It is fascinating to observe how this landscape transforms before our eyes. To make an example, let's go to Serbia, where in 10 years, this percentage grew from 18 to 57%. Now let's change perspective and look at it from company or supply point of view. Global value of e-commerce sales, B2B and B2C, reached around $27,000 billion. This is $27 trillion in 2019, which is around 30% of global GDP. In the Balkans, 1 in 6 companies offer their goods and services online. And this is not such a bad result because it's around the EU average. But it is well behind the e-commerce champions such as Belgium, where 1 in 3 companies sell online. However, we need to stop for a second and acknowledge powerful trend of digitalization, digital transformation. For that, we go to North Macedonia for an example. In only 10 years, share of companies with internet access grew from 88% to 97%. Pandemics and lockdowns, as one can imagine, only accelerated these trends. Globally, share of online sales increased from 16% to 19% of all retail trade. I believe it is fair to conclude that e-commerce is already a big deal. Or as we like to put it, it is a big chance we need to tap into and we should not miss. For us in the Balkans, tapping into potential of digital trade means creating a complex environment to help our companies in their digital transformation and especially in developing their online offer. This is, of course, easier said than done. One may look at the agenda of this digital summit and find so many important aspects of this work: skills, infrastructure, cybersecurity, public services, you name it. I want to argue here, however, that on top of all these valuable aspects, there is a strong need to create a market big enough to attract investments from outside and also to promote investments from inside into digital. This is why Europe has digital single market. And we make this our midterm objective. But in the short run, it will be EU compliant regional digital market that will give space to our companies to grow locally, expand regionally, and then be strong enough to become European and global players. Because in economy size does matter, let us go through some figures. Regional CEFTA market accounts for around 20 million consumers. This is 33 times more the size of Montenegro in terms of market and 11 times more the size of Kosovo. Moreover, these people are of similar purchasing power. They are also geographically and culturally close, and in many instances they speak the same or similar languages. Together, regional economy is around $120 billion, which for Bosnians means access to 6 times bigger market. If we zoom in to the digital market, overall size is estimated today to around 1.3 billion euro, 2.5 times more than Serbia market alone, which is the biggest one in the region, and 8 times more than the market of North Macedonia. For companies, that matters. On top of that, experts project our digital market can grow by 30% by 2025. But I believe we can do much better. How, if you wonder? One thing for sure is that we put in motion and we implement ambitious plan, which in CEFTA we called e-commerce roadmap, which seeks to address 5 key barriers in development of regional e-commerce market. Now, before we dive into these 5 priorities, let me underline important fact that this document is developed in cooperation with the European Commission, in particular DG Connect, and therefore it does not only seek to create a regional market, but also to bring a region very close to EU digital single market. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, coming back to our priorities, the idea is that each address one important barrier for regional e-commerce. In short, what we plan to do is to cut regional regulatory cost, cut regional transaction cost, cut the time and cost of customs clearance, enable electronic identification across different markets in the region, and increase capacities of businesses to use these opportunities. So let's start with the first. Regulatory cost is all cost of compliance to different laws, different procedures in different CEFTA markets. In order to cut this cost, we have set up a list of important rules which we will harmonize across the region. The result is one region, same rules. This is complemented by regional market principle, where online traders will need to comply to their local rules and will not be asked to comply with additional rules in other markets, and this will apply to certain areas. Again, the result is the same. One region, same rules. Based on EU commerce and consumer protection directives, harmonized rules and regional market principles are already agreed in the form of joint committee decision, which we expect to be adopted by the end of this year. Priority 2. Transaction cost. Our focus here is payment and parcel delivery. Together with RCC and the World Bank, we hope to introduce rules which will gradually put domestic and regional market at equal footing, just like this is the case in the EU based on EU cross-border payment regulation. As for the parcel delivery, GIZ is helping us in identifying what exactly we can do to improve supply of postal services in the region. Following EU parcel delivery regulation, one measure would surely address tariff monitoring. But we do not want to stop there. So we are looking into concrete measures which would make parcel delivery across the region cheaper and more accessible. But we cannot discuss parcel delivery without customs. This is why together with GIZ, we launched a project to identify models of cooperation which would allow parcels to go fast through customs procedure, but without jeopardizing safety. Furthermore, we want to create level playing field for all consumers across the region, free from bans, discrimination, and rerouting business practices which are now commonly called geo-blocking. Also, together with RCC, we are working on enabling electronic identification such as e-signatures in the region, which would additionally help operating in multiple markets. Finally, we would like to work more with business partners such as e-commerce associations and chambers of commerce in helping them by all means available to us in shaping these processes so they can be as practical as possible and yield, this is very important to us, very real results. This brings us to the end of my talk. But for the end, allow me once again to emphasize and draw all of your attention once more to the why and to the how of regional digital trade. We need electronic commerce because it is an opportunity we should not miss. If we did not really see it before, today, after all these lockdowns, it is impossible not to see it. We need regional commerce, e-commerce, to give us better springboard for Europe and for the world. If our companies do not get a market big enough to grow, they will simply leave. And finally, we do this to prepare us for the near future in the European digital single market. This is what our CEFTA e-commerce roadmap is for. Let me at the very end thank GIZ for loyal partnership in rolling out this roadmap and this video, as well as European Commission for their support in funding and in knowledge. And invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or visit our website for more information, www.cefta.int.